Murder on the Orient Express is a 2017 whodunit film based on the novel by Agatha Christie and directed by Kenneth Branagh, and stars a whole crap ton of people, including Branagh himself, Penelope Cruz, Willem Dafoe, Judi Dench, Johnny Depp, Josh Gad, and Daisy Ridley, amongst others. It follows the journey of Hercule Poirot, a detective who just happens to be traveling on the Orient Express after a murder occurs on board. Its IMDb synopsis reads, "When a murder occurs on the train on which he's traveling, celebrated detective Hercule Poirot is recruited to solve the case." I watched this movie a while ago, so I don't remember that much. However, I do remember it being at least entertaining with some pretty good production value and a hell of a cast. Anyways, roll that intro. Welcome to Blockbuster Analysis, a series where I go over films that were either incredible successes or colossal failures and analyze what could have caused either of those results to occur, from release dates to critical response, and then go over the box office results and aftermath from said success or failure. Murder on the Orient Express was directed by Kenneth Branagh, who's known for his career's mix of directing and acting. He directed several adaptations of Shakespeare plays, dabbled in the MCU with the first Thor movie, and even directed the live-action remake of Cinderella. He also directed... Yikes. Moving on. I'm going to be honest, this cast is really long, so I'm going to just rapid-fire what I know them from. Penelope Cruz, The Worst Pirates of the Caribbean. Willem Dafoe, Godspeed, Spider-Man. Judi Dench, posh British woman in James Bond flicks. Johnny Depp, a bunch of bizarre, entertaining stuff. Josh Gad, Beauty and the Beast remake. Daisy Ridley, bad Star Wars movies. And that's about it. There's a whole lot of name recognition in this movie, and I think that this amount of famous people would be really easy to sell to mass audiences. So moving on. One of the biggest things that could have benefited Orient Express's success is its release date, as it was released 1.5-ish weeks before the Thanksgiving holiday in the US. It also served as a good counter-programming to the other top box office movies, Daddy's Home 2 and Thor Ragnarok. Releases around Thanksgiving usually run out of most of their steam by the December holidays, but they usually leg out enough to be successful as is. Possibly the only hindrance to its chances to succeed was Orient Express's reception. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a barely fresh 60% based on 297 reviews on the Tomato Meter. It also received a Metacritic score of 52 out of 100 from 46 critics, and a B Cinema score for audiences. Not terrible, but it floated the line between good and bad for most audiences, garnering a 53% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Not good, but hell, it was a holiday, so people would want some mind-numbing entertainment anyway. So how'd it do? Murder on the Orient Express was expected to make around $20 million in its opening weekend. Not an extreme amount, but good enough to eat into its modest $55 million budget. However, it made $10.73 million in its opening day, and went on to overperform, making $28.68 million in its opening weekend, finishing third before the aforementioned Thor Ragnarok and Daddy's Home 2. It grossed an estimated $8,584 per theater, of which it played in 3,341. In its second weekend, it grossed $13.81 million from 3,354 theaters, adding 13 from the previous week and averaging about $4,116 per theater. It fell 51.9%, but it wasn't too steep of a fall to put its box office prospects in jeopardy. Over the Thanksgiving weekend, it grossed $13.17 million, dropping a minute 4.6%, finishing fifth for the second weekend in a row and averaging $4,178 per theater after it dropped 202 for a total of 3,152 theaters. Over its 5-day and 4-day weekends, it made $18.73 and $16.18 million respectively. After its third weekend, its domestic cume stood at $74.34 million. Good enough that if it left all US theaters, it probably would have broken even on just foreign numbers. It held on pretty well until the holidays, when it dropped a significant number of theaters over the course of 2 weeks, and then lingered for a couple more months until week 16, when it was pulled from its remaining 37 theaters, with a domestic total of $102,826,543, a fantastic result, especially with a $55 million budget. It also had a fantastic multiplier of 3.59, but a lot of credit for that needs to go to the holidays. In total, it made nearly enough to cover its entire production budget domestically, so essentially any money that it made overseas was profit for the studio. It made a total of $249.96 million abroad during its foreign run, bringing its worldwide total to $352,789,811. Its biggest markets were China with $34.69 million, the United Kingdom with $32.23 million, and Italy with $17.67 million. Putting all that cash into the 50-40-25 method, its revenues evened out to about $146.2 million. Subtracting that budget of $55 million makes my calculations come out to $91.2 million in profit for the studios involved. No wonder it's getting a sequel. I can't really remember too much about Murder on the Orient Express, but I do recall that it had a lot of famous people and it had an interesting twist at the end. Other than that, I can't really say too much about it. For reasons it succeeded, 100% the biggest reason were the big names involved, as well as a runner-up was the great timing and release date it got. If you liked this video, consider subscribing for other films to be analyzed, and be sure to comment anything you thought could have affected its success and discuss what elements you liked or disliked down below. Have a fantastic day all. I'll see you next time.